Can everyone see me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll start about 2 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, then we're going to go from there. And would you mind please muting your mics because we can pick up your background sound as well. Okay. All righty. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming to this meeting. It's optional, but I just wanted to give you guys an update as to where we stand and what's happening and what's going to happen in the near future. As you all know, for our class, we have a face-to-face type of lecture and lab. In addition to that, we also have our online homework system, which is through Mastering Chemistry. I implore you guys to continue to, log into Mastering Chemistry and work on the assignments. If you need some additional help or anything, send me an email, and I would be more than happy to kind of, guide you guys to where you need to go, or guide you guys to whatever questions that you need answers to, and so forth. I also want to make sure you guys go back and look at the email that I sent, not last week. I think it was last week here. With the videos for those students who were absent, due to illness or for whatever reason, or, if you just need to refresh your memory. I know some of the topics that we covered, you may not have remembered some of the things that we've covered in class or during class, as well as during our dry labs. So I implore you guys to go back and look at those videos. Initially in one of my initial emails, I said I was going to post some videos up from YouTube. I am going to do that. In addition to that, I'm going to make my own videos as well, to also help us during our during the time that we move to an online type of instruction. So please make sure you look at, the Mastering Chemistry login for updates. Can anybody tell me when is the chapters 3, 4, and 5 are due for the homework assignments for Mastering Chemistry? Does anybody know? Has anybody logged in? Can anybody hear me? Yes, let's see here. Let me go to the chat here. April 6th, that is correct. So April 6th. So if you can see that the date has been changed to April 6th, so you guys have that time to go over some information, to do the homework and so forth. So now that's due April 6th. Oops.
I'm on a Zoom meeting.
I'm sorry.
Just keep it muted.
All right.
I don't think they can hear me. I hope not.
I can hear somebody talking. on a Zoom. Somebody said it was on a Zoom meeting. All right. So now, are there any questions so far, ladies and gentlemen? If you have questions, please feel free to. You can unmute your mic and ask a question, or you can type it in the chat if you don't want to, get on mic or camera, whatever the case may be. But feel free to stop me anytime and ask a question. I think you have the option to raise your hand as well, so that way I can acknowledge you and we can go from there. Questions so far? Okay. All righty. I don't see anything in the chat, and I don't see any hands raised or anything. So we're gonna. Okay. So now I'm glad you guys brought that up now. So now let's move on to our next item on the agenda, experiment 11, which is due. You're going to submit online. So excuse me. Experiment 11, which was the redox reactions, was supposed to be due on Monday for whatever class that was, and on Wednesday for my other class, right? So basically it was due this week, but clearly we have not been on campus, so therefore you are able to submit your experiment 11 online to me via Canvas. You can take a picture of it with your phone, take a picture of all the pages, and make sure you have your name on all the pages, and I can see that in the pictures, and you can upload it to Canvas. I'll give you guys until today is Friday. I'll give it until Monday to turn it in, because there are some things you have to set up through Canvas, and we're still working on that. We actually had a meeting yesterday for the Department of Chemistry about some things, and we're still working on some trying to make sure we have everything in place by April 6th for you guys. So experiment 11 due date will be submitted online via Canvas, and you have until Monday, which will be the 23rd. So 3-23-2020 for experiment 11. Any questions so far? So again, feel free to raise your hand, type in the question in the chat box, whatever the case, whatever makes you feel comfortable. All right. So now that's our experiment 11. So now, since there are no questions on experiment 11, just want to make sure. All right. So now we're going to move on to exam 2. So again, exam 2 was supposed to have been yesterday, the 18th, but however, again, not being on campus, everything has been transferred to online. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn exam 2 into a take-home exam, which basically you will submit online. I'm sorry, it says in the blue handbook. I'm sorry.
I'm a little busy right now. I'm in a meeting.
I can barely hear you. Could you speak up, please? So can somebody explain in the blue handbook, correct? What does that mean? Ethan? Let me see. Oops. Let me fix that. Okay, I can't fix that. It says on the blue handbook, experiment 11 in the blue handbook. It is the experiment 11 is in the lab manual that you all purchased for the class. I'm not sure what the color is. So I can't, I don't know. I want to say it's yellow. I think I saw the yellow ones, but it is the lab manual that you purchased for this class, and it's in that book. Does that clear up anything for you? All right, good. All right. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So now let's move forward. So again, to exam 2, it will be a take-home exam, and I will have that posted for you guys. It will cover chapters 3, 4, 5, and I have 6 up here, but it should be 3 through 5 here. Excuse me, 3-5 for exam 2. 3, 4, and 5. Not 6 there, but 3, 4, and 5. And this exam will be due on April 8th. Excuse me. So that's for exam 2. And the reason why I'm making this a take-home exam, because again, we're not in class, but also just to give you guys enough time for those who may have technology issues, computer issues, whatever the case may be, you have enough time to actually work on this exam during this time. On April 6th, when we commence to having online lectures, we will start at chapter 6. So during this time, I will post, like I said, the YouTube videos for the gas laws, which are already posted to begin with, because they are under, if you look under in your Canvas app here, for those who have Canvas, let me go to Canvas. And let me go to courses here. If you go into Canvas and you go into modules and you scroll down for chapter 5, excuse me, chapter 5 here, it's the gas laws. And with the gas laws here, you have the pre-lecture assignments. You not only have my slides here, you have the in-class activity, but you also have the pre-lecture 5. And with pre-lecture 5, it deals with the different gas laws that we will cover. Avogadro's law, all the Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, all the different laws here. In addition to that, you will see some practice problems here that you all can work on. And there are, I think, like 20-something problems here that you guys can do some practice on and get acclimated to the gas laws. In addition, I'm sorry, 30-something problems. In addition to that, I have the answer key here. The answer key is in random order, so that means you can check your answers and go from there. But again, if you have questions, I am available to, via email. I'm available during Zoom, whatever the case may be, and I would try to work out the problems as best as I can. Even if I have to submit a video online, I would do that as well. I have a question here. It says, where do we find the exam? I will post the exam under, it'll say exam 2, take home exam, and I will post it. It's not posted yet. I will post it by the end of this week, which is tomorrow, Friday. It will be up there. All right. Any questions so far? Any other questions?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Okay, so I'm wondering about exam 2. Is it going to be like a multiple choice thing on Canvas, or is it on another app, or is it just something that we print out and then do and then like take pictures of and send to you?
That is correct. It's going to be a PDF file.
Okay.
And so you're going to have to print it out, because when I give take-home exams, and I've given take-home exams in the past, I actually gave one last semester, but my take-home exams are free response.
Mm-hmm.
They're not A, B, C, D. They're free response, as in you have to write a statement, write a sentence, do some calculations, show your work, whatever the case may be. And you will have the opportunity to submit your exam answers via Canvas, and I can go from there and grade.
Okay, so we're basically doing like what we're doing with the lab, and we're just taking pictures of it and submitting it to
Yes,
Canvas.
ma'am. That is correct.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, it says, is the redox reaction due by 11:59 or at a different time? Okay, that's a good question. Let's go back to first, before we do that, are there any more questions about the gas laws? And how do we look up the information for the gas laws? Now, all right. So now, these experiment 11 will be due by 11:59. I'm a firm believer in that, it's still March 23rd until 11:59. Can somebody mute themselves as well, please? All right, thank you. So, like I said, it's 11:59 until, it's March 23rd until 11:59. So you guys have until that time to actually submit your assignment. But please do not wait till the last minute. Submit it by the due date, please. Thank you. And I see a question here. Under pages in Canvas, there is already an exam 2. Under Canvas, let's see here. Let's go back to Canvas. Because I go under modules. That exam 2 is not one I submitted. The one that I submitted was exam 3, but that was for last semester, and that doesn't pertain to us because they were in a different timeline than where we are now. There is a study guide for exam 2, though, up here. But I don't see, you say under pages. Let me go to pages. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, that exam 2 does not pertain to us. That is actually for another class, but as you notice here, what are we here? Gas evolution. Although it's a good practice because I mean, determining percent yield, the empirical formulas, I mean, electrolytes and non-electrolytes. So that's some good information. It's a starting place, but it's not our exam 2. So just want to keep that in mind. Okay, will you still have office hours when instead in person via Zoom? Yes, I will have them via Zoom. I will also have them also as well via email for those who may not have the capabilities. So again, I am available via email and Zoom. But if you have to tell me ahead of time so that I can prepare to make sure I'm logging in and everything is all working properly and so forth. So if you want to have a Zoom meeting, by all means, tell me at least the day before so I can prepare for it. If it's just via email, I can, type your response or go from there. But now, my office hours are from 10 to 2 on Tuesdays. So by then I will, during that time, I will be available via Zoom more readily because I'm holding office hours during that time. Questions so far? Any other questions? The questions. Will practice quizzes, participation points also be in Zoom? That's a good question. We will have quizzes via Zoom. I'm not via Zoom. We will have quizzes via Canvas. But the participation points and quizzes, that's a good question. We definitely will have that via Zoom because our classes will be recorded via Zoom. I will be delivering my lectures via the Zoom method here, as similar to what we're doing right now. Move grades on. I would, definitely have to move grades online. Moving forward, because the last quiz that I have for you guys, I did not get a chance to grade it because the campus is closed and so forth. So I will grade those by hand, and we will go from there. And I will post those grades online. I'm not going to put everything online on Canvas because up until last Friday, the grades, you keeping track of your grades is still your responsibility. Just like even though we moved to an online platform, you are still responsible to keep track of your grades. So now I will post whatever grades that we have from here on out. So like the last quiz that you guys have, the upcoming exam, any upcoming quizzes, any upcoming assignments will all be posted via Canvas. But anything prior to the 13th, Friday the 13th, March 13th, I'm not going to put those on there because you already have those assignments. If you didn't, that means they're in my office because you didn't pick them up when I brought them to class. All right. Any questions so far? Any other questions? Will you move grades on? I did that. Keep track of them. So you should do. I'm going to move on online, but remember now, you still have to keep track of your grades. Your grades is your responsibility. Don't ever, ever, ever leave that to any professor. You always want to know where your grades are. Yes, we can post them online. We can do whatever, but it's still your responsibility to keep track of your grades. All right. Any other questions? All righty. So now let's go back to our agenda here. All right. So now we have our exam 2. It will be posted this week, and you'll have until April 8th, excuse me, to turn it in via Canvas. On April 6th, our online lectures will begin. We will be starting at chapter 6. And just like for chapter 5, and actually all the chapters, there is pre-lecture assignments that you all can look at to get some additional information, to also just to kind of, to acclimate yourself to the information. That way you'll have a little bit more information ahead of time before we start the actual lecture. So just want to keep that in mind. The lectures will be recorded. They will be posted on Canvas, Canvas or our YouTube YouTube website for future reference for those who are not able to meet the lecture and so forth. All right. Any other questions before we move forward here? Other questions? All righty. So now, so again, we started chapter 6, and we will go from 6 through 10, or well, actually we stop at 10, so 6 through 10, and we will go from there. Chapter 6 is thermochemistry, which is similar to, well, it's not similar, but some of the calculation that we do is similar to stoichiometric calculation that we are covering, that we covered in chapter 4. So just kind of keep that in mind. The next thing here is our labs. Our labs will be basically virtual labs right now. We had a meeting yesterday with the Department of Chemistry, and we're still working on what process that we're going to do, or we're not sure if we want to use an actual program that you all have to download. I know we got to download a whole bunch of stuff right now. Or is somebody going to actually be allowed to go to the lab and do the experiments and record it and record the videos, and then we can go from there. So right now we're looking at our options, and we're also asking our administration for guidance on how to handle this, because as a chemistry class, we have both lab and lecture. Our situation is unique with this, well, not just chemistry, but in the sciences altogether, with physics and biology and so forth. So we're still trying to figure out how we're going to handle those. So right now, your labs will be pretty much virtual, but we have not decided as to what format what does that mean, or what does that look like virtual. So now, are there any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Will the rest of the semester be online? We have been extended till April 30th, and it wouldn't surprise me if it goes past that, but I can't confirm that right now. All I can say is what has been conveyed to the faculty members is that April 6th is when we start online lectures, and it could go to April 30th, but again, we have not been given any additional information. So now, ladies and gentlemen, are there any more questions? When will they start doing the online labs? That is a good question. We will start all online lectures and online, how can I say this? All online instruction will start April 6th. So we're assuming that the labs are going to start April 6th as well. All right. All right. So now, any other questions before I move forward from the labs? Oh, excuse me. So yes, our ACSX final is still going to be an ACSX final. However, it's going to be a different one that's going to be tailored to where we are right now. We're not the only campus, the only state, the only country that's affected by, the coronavirus epidemic right now. However, the ACS understands that, and they will provide us with a alternate exam that is going to be tailored to the circumstances that we are in right now. Because normally, when it comes to traditional ACS exams, it's in a classroom. You have an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the exam. You have like 60 to 70 questions to answer to answer on the exam, and so forth. But in this time right now, it's going to be something totally different, and so we're waiting to hear from the ACS to get some final details on how things are going to be handled. Any other questions? What would happen with the labs that I missed? If you missed, well, the only one lab for our class, there's only one lab that was actually missed, and that would be the acid-base titration reaction. And right now we're still working on that. So far, there's only just one lab that we've actually missed, because for the we also would have had a workshop this week. So basically my plan was for the workshop was to work on some practice problems and get acclimated on some things and preparing for the exam and so forth. So that's what happens. So now if you missed labs prior to, last week or whatever the case may be, then those are labs that just, again, if you miss more than 3, if you miss less than 3, it won't count against you. But if you miss more than 3, then of course, it's, that how many you miss over the 3 will count against you. Because remember, I do give an opportunity for students to miss up to 3 labs without having any penalty. Okay, so all future assignments, they will be submitted through photos on Canvas. Yes, unless I say otherwise. Yes. All right, for the ACS final, will it be similar format or normal take-home exams as we print out? That I'm not sure. That is set up by the American Chemical Society, and if we choose to go that route, then we have to follow whatever protocol that they put in place. All right. When will experiment 11 be added to Canvas for submission? I'm going to add that up today at the end of this meeting. By the end of the day, I'm going to add that to Canvas, so that way you guys will have an opportunity to submit your assignment. All right. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Hey, Dr. Tatum, yeah, I have a question real quick. It's Katie.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. First off, thank you for taking the time to do this. It's really helpful to kind of have our questions answered like this. None of my other professors have done this, so it's really nice. But also, as far as the online lectures go, obviously they'll be via Zoom, so it'll be just like before. It'll be at 8 a.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, I assume.
Well, it is well. That's yes and maybe, and I say yes and maybe because again we're still ironing those things out as a district as a whole, because we know people have families and people have different responsibilities now during this time. So the goal is to, yes, hold your class at 8 o'clock in the morning. If possible, if you can be flexible, if your students are open to you being flexible, you can hold it at a later time. But if you choose to hold it at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever time you choose, the goal is to record your lecture and have it available for students, for those students who may not have access at that time.
Okay, so it's a little more fluid than the traditional on-campus model.
Exactly, that's correct. So right now we're still working out the details and so forth. So I say right now, prepare to be at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I say that now on March 19th. But April 6th, it might be something totally different. So just bear with us right now.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome. Okay. Okay, I will check that out. My favorite basketball player. Let's see, basketball player. Let me see. Oh goodness. Anybody who play on the Texas team? No, I think my favorite Curry, Steph Curry, only because I lived in the Bay Area for a while, and so it was all about something nation, whatever they call the and I'm horrible with this, the Blue Nation, whatever it's called or something. So yeah, so I kind of got bitten by the Steph Curry bug. Yeah. All right, you're welcome. So now, so study guide for exam 2. Okay, I will post that up then. I thought it was, because I saw it on my end, but it may not be open to you guys yet. So I'll check to make sure that is open to you all for exam 2 study guide. So I'm going to put this on my list of things to do here. Exam 2 study guide. Oop, I spelled guide wrong. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so the class meetings will they be certain at certain times or similar? I think I just kind of addressed that. I said that right now we're still working out the details, but I'm assuming that if we all are supposed to go move to online online lectures, that our lectures will start at the time that we will normally have our class time. However, the goal is, if that's not the case, the goal is regardless of whatever you start your lecture, is for the faculty members to record the said lecture so that the students who were not able to make it can have access to it online via YouTube or Canvas, whatever the case may be. And most of the time we're probably going to put it on YouTube because you have a little bit more bandwidth on YouTube. So therefore we would do it that way. For oral quizzes, how will it be done? The oral quizzes format may have to change. So of course, if you come to lecture and I ask a question via oral quiz, ask a question and I say it's an oral quiz, and of course we will go from there. But with the oral quiz, what you will have to do is possibly use your camera or your phone or whatever the case may be to show me your work. And of course, you would have to explain it to us. You may have to share your screen, like I'm sharing my screen. If you notice here, I'm on my iPad and my computer. The iPad is where I'm sharing my screen to show you guys the agenda, and the computer is where I'm actually recording. So in your case, you may share, you have the option to share your screen, and then from there, you can show, go into detail on how to solve the problems. But again, I'm still working on how the format is going to be when it comes to lecture time. So let me actually, and that's a good point. I want to show something, bring something to your guys' attention. Let me go into PowerPoint here. So notice here, I'm sharing my screen. I'm showing you the PowerPoint from chapter 5. And so basically, this is how our lectures are going to be, is where I'm using 2 devices. One for my computer to teach and talk to you guys and explain information. The other one is from my iPad, where I can share my slides from you guys and go from there and explain stuff and move forward through the lecture and so forth. And then of course we can pause and ask questions and do practice problems and so forth. So this is basically how we're going to do our lecture format. And again, they will be recorded. So, if you can't make it for whatever reason, they will be posted on Canvas. All righty. So some class meetings will be at certain times, or okay, yeah, I already touched on paces on that. Or quizzes, how will they be done? I talked about that as well. Are there any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Or do you have feedback? Any feedback, anything you want to share, anything that you think that we should implement in the class, or in the online, any opinions that you may have that you think that we should implement, or whatever the case may be. I'm open to that. Love to hear what you guys think, and we can go from there.
Okay, so I just want to clarify something. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so pretty much everything, at least for your class, is starting back up again by April 6th.
Yes, that's all instruction, this entire campus.
This entire campus, okay. All right, so just be on the lookout for all of these files and everything until for then.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, the files already that are up there are the pre-lecture assignments, and even the slides from the publisher. I provide you guys with my own slides where I pick and choose information from the publisher to kind of condense it, so that way we can have less information. As because the publisher, if you notice, they might have like almost 200 slides in some of those PowerPoints, and I try to condense it into less slides, so that way you'll have the information, the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of the information. So, but I'm working on chapter 6. They will be posted soon, and of course the other chapters as well will be posted as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes. Oh, excuse me, guys. All right. Any other questions or feedback that anyone has? Anything that they want to, think that should be implemented into the class, or what have you? Okay. No questions, ladies and gentlemen? Again, I'm available via email, Zoom. You can go from there, whatever the case may be. But if there are no other questions, guys, please be safe. Enjoy your spring break, so to speak. I know it's coming up next week. Look out for more information, and we will adjourn our meeting here at 12:31.
Stay safe, Dr. Tatum.
Thank you, you too. All righty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your evening, enjoy your afternoon, be safe, and I will see you guys later on.